A 10-year-old girl walks into the hospital carrying a baby in her arms, and when she revealed who the baby belonged to, everyone in the room started crying. The sun had just begun to peek over the horizon when the automatic doors of San Rafael General Hospital swung wide open. The morning shift staff had only just started their work, and the smell of freshly brewed coffee mixed with the familiar scent of disinfectant that permeated the hallways. Nurse Lucia Mendoza, with 15 years of experience behind her, was at the emergency reception desk, reviewing the files from the previous night. Her tired eyes scanned the lines of the reports while she sipped from her coffee, still too hot. Another quiet day, she thought, unaware that she was about to face one of the most shocking cases of her career. The sound of hurried footsteps caught her attention. Lucia looked up from the papers, expecting to see a colleague running late or perhaps an early patient. What she saw, however, froze her in place for a moment. A little girl, who couldn't have been more than 10 years old, was walking through the hospital doors. Her brown hair was disheveled, and her clothes, a cotton t-shirt and shorts, looked hastily put on. But what truly shocked Lucia was what the girl was holding in her arms, a small bundle wrapped in a blanket. "Oh my God!" Lucia exclaimed, stepping out from behind the counter. "Are you okay, sweetheart?" The girl, with wide, frightened eyes, looked at Lucia without speaking. Her arms trembled slightly as she held the bundle close to her chest. I was told to come here," the girl murmured, her voice shaky. Lucia approached cautiously, extending her hands. "It's okay, honey. You're safe here. Can I see what you're carrying?" With slow, gentle movements, Lucia peeled back part of the blanket. Her heart skipped a beat when she saw the tiny face of a newborn. The baby was sleeping peacefully, unaware of the chaos that was about to unfold. "Carmen!" Lucia called to her colleague who had just entered. "I need help here, now." Carmen, a young nurse in her second year, hurried over. Her eyes widened at the sight. "Oh my God," she whispered. "What?" "Call Dr. Ramirez," Lucia instructed, not taking her eyes off the girl. "And get a stretcher. Quickly." As Carmen rushed off, Lucia knelt in front of the girl, trying to stay calm despite the storm of questions swirling in her mind. "Sweetheart, what's your name?" she asked softly. The girl blinked, as if struggling to process the question. "Anna," she finally replied. "My name is Anna." "Anna, you're very brave for coming here," Lucia said, making an effort to keep her tone soothing. "Can you tell me what happened?" Anna looked down at the baby in her arms, then back at Lucia. Tears welled up in her eyes. I don't know. I woke up, and he was there. It hurt so much." Lucia's heart sank at those words. Years of experience told her that this was a terrible situation, but right now, the priority was to stay calm and help Anna. "It's okay, honey. You don't need to explain anything right now. We're going to take care of you and the baby, all right?" At that moment, Carmen returned with a stretcher, followed closely by Dr. Ramirez, a middle-aged man with a serious expression. "Lucia, what do we have here?" asked the doctor, quickly assessing the situation. "Anna, approximately 10 years old," Lucia reported in a professional tone. "She arrived a few minutes ago with a newborn. She's confused and mentions pain." Dr. Ramirez nodded, his face a mask of professional concern. He approached Anna and spoke in a calm but firm voice. "Hello, Anna. I'm Dr. Ramirez. We're going to take care of you and the baby, all right? Can you lie down on the stretcher so we can take you to a room?" Anna looked at the stretcher apprehensively, holding the baby tightly against her chest. "You won't take the baby away from me, will you?" she asked, her voice trembling. The doctor exchanged a quick glance with Lucia before answering. "No, Anna. The baby will stay with you. We just want to make sure you're both okay." Gently, they helped Anna onto the stretcher. Lucia noticed the girl wince in pain as she moved, confirming her worst suspicions. As they moved down the hallway toward an examination room, hospital staff began to take notice. Murmurs and astonished looks followed the group, but the medical team ignored them, focusing on their young patient. "Anna," Lucia said as they walked, "is there anyone we can call?" "Your parents." Anna shook her head, her eyes fixed on the baby. "I don't know. I don't want them to be mad." Dr. Ramirez frowned at this response but maintained his calm tone. "Don't worry about that now, Anna. The important thing is that you're here, and we can help you." When they reached the examination room, the team moved with practiced efficiency. Carmen prepared the room while Lucia helped Anna settle into the hospital bed. "Anna," Dr. Ramirez said, "we need to examine the baby. Is it all right if Lucia holds him for a moment?" Anna hesitated, her arms tightening around the small bundle. Lucia stepped closer, her voice soft and reassuring. "I'll be right here, sweetheart. You can watch everything we do. We just want to make sure the baby is healthy." After a long moment, Anna slowly nodded. With infinite care, Lucia took the baby from Anna's arms. The little one stirred slightly but did not wake. "It's a boy," Lucia murmured, examining the newborn with an expert eye. He looks like he's only a few hours old. Dr. Ramirez nodded, making mental notes. Carmen, prepare for a full examination of the baby. Lucia, stay with Anna. I'm going to ask a few questions, and I need you here. While Carmen took the baby to a nearby examination table, Dr. Ramirez sat down beside Anna's bed. His expression was kind, but his eyes reflected deep concern. Anna, he began, I know this is hard, but I need to ask you some questions so we can help you. Is that okay? Anna nodded, though her gaze remained fixed on the baby that Carmen was examining. Can you tell me how you got to the hospital this morning? Anna blinked, as if trying to remember. I walked. I think. It wasn't too far. Did anyone bring you or tell you to come? A lady, Anna mumbled. On the street. She saw me and told me I needed to come to the hospital. Lucia and the doctor exchanged a glance. The story was becoming more complicated by the second. Anna, Dr. Ramirez said gently, do you know how the baby came to you? The girl frowned, clearly confused. I woke up, and he was there. It hurts a lot, doctor. Did I do something wrong? Lucia's heart broke at those words. She took Anna's hand, squeezing it gently. No, sweetheart. You didn't do anything wrong. We're here to help you. Dr. Ramirez took a deep breath before continuing. Anna, I need to examine you to see why you're in pain. Is it okay if I do that? Anna nodded, though fear was evident in her eyes. Lucia stayed by her side, holding her hand and murmuring words of encouragement as the doctor performed a preliminary exam. The tension in the room was palpable. Carmen, who had finished examining the baby, joined them, her face a professional mask barely hiding her shock. The baby seems to be in good condition, she reported quietly. He'll need some more detailed tests, but his vital signs are stable. Dr. Ramirez nodded, his expression grim as he finished his initial examination of Anna. He stood up, exchanging a significant look with the nurses. Anna, he said, his voice gentle but serious, we're going to take very good care of you and the baby. We'll need to do some more tests, and you'll probably have to stay in the hospital for a while. Do you understand? Anna nodded, though it was clear she didn't fully grasp the situation. Can I see the baby now? She asked in a small voice. Of course, Lucia replied, gesturing to Carmen. As Carmen brought the baby back, Dr. Ramirez approached Lucia and spoke in a low voice. We need to contact social services and the police. And get a team ready for more detailed exams. This is going to be a tough case. Lucia nodded, her heart heavy. I'll stay with her, she said, looking at Anna, who was now holding the baby again, a mixture of confusion and tenderness on her young face. Dr. Ramirez left the room, his mind already working on the next necessary steps. Lucia sat beside Anna, watching as the girl looked down at the baby with a mixture of awe and fear. He's so small, Anna murmured. Yes, he is, Lucia replied softly. You've been very brave, Anna. We're here to help you, okay? You're not alone. Anna looked up, her eyes filled with unshed tears. I'm scared, she confessed in a whisper. Lucia felt her heart break a little more. I know, sweetheart. But you're safe here. I promise. As the sun continued to rise in the sky, bathing the room in golden light, Lucia stayed by Anna's side, holding her hand and offering the silent comfort that only years of experience could provide. She knew the days ahead would be difficult, but for now, in this moment, her job was to be an anchor for this little girl whose world had just changed forever. Outside the room, the hospital was buzzing with activity. Doctors and nurses hurried by, some casting curious glances at the closed door. Rumors were already starting to spread, whispers of shock and amazement at the unusual situation. Dr. Ramirez returned after what felt like an eternity. His face showed signs of tension, but he kept a calm expression as he entered the room. Anna, he said gently, approaching the bed. We've prepared a special room for you and the baby. Would it be all right if we moved you there? It will be more comfortable and private. Anna looked at Lucia, seeking reassurance. The nurse nodded with a comforting smile. I'll be with you the whole time, sweetheart. Carefully, they transferred Anna and the baby to a private room in the pediatric wing. The room was bright and decorated with soft colors and cheerful drawings on the walls, an attempt to make the space less intimidating for young patients. Once they were settled, Dr. Ramirez sat next to Anna's bed. Anna, there are some people who will come to talk to you soon. They are specialists who want to help you. Is that okay? Anna nodded, though her expression showed confusion. Why is everyone so worried? Did I do something wrong? The doctor gently took Anna's hand. No, Anna. You haven't done anything wrong. But something very serious has happened, and we need to understand what happened so we can help you in the best way possible. At that moment, a social worker named Elena entered the room. Her face showed a mixture of compassion and professionalism as she approached the bed. Hello, Anna, she said in a soft voice. I'm Elena. I'm here to help you and make sure you're well taken care of. Can I sit down and talk with you for a little while? Anna nodded, her eyes moving between Elena, Dr. Ramirez, and Lucia. The nurse gave her a reassuring squeeze on the hand, offering a comforting smile. Elena sat next to the bed, her voice soft and calming. Anna, can you tell me a little about yourself? How old are you? I'm 10 years old, Anna answered quietly, her fingers nervously playing with the blanket that covered the baby. Elena nodded, maintaining a kind expression. And do you live with your parents, Anna? The girl lowered her gaze, her voice barely a whisper. With my mom and my stepfather. Dr. Ramirez and Lucia exchanged a quick glance but kept their expressions neutral. Do you know where they are now? Elena asked gently. Anna shook her head, her eyes filling with tears. I don't want them to come. They'll be really mad. Elena leaned in slightly, her voice filled with understanding. Anna, no one here is mad at you. We're all worried and want to help you. Can you tell us why you think they'd be angry? The girl remained silent for a moment, her eyes fixed on the baby peacefully sleeping in her arms. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely audible. Because I brought the baby here. It was supposed to be a secret. The silence that followed was heavy, loaded with implications none of the adults in the room wanted to consider. Lucia, sensing the growing tension, intervened softly. Anna, sweetheart, are you hungry? I can bring you something to eat if you like. Anna nodded slowly, grateful for the change in subject. Yes, please. As Lucia left to get food, Dr. Ramirez approached Elena and spoke in a low voice. We need to run some more detailed tests, both on Anna and the baby. And we need to contact the authorities. Elena nodded, her expression grave. I agree. I'll start the necessary procedures. For now, the most important thing is for Anna to feel safe and comfortable. The doctor turned his attention back to Anna, who was looking at the baby with a mix of curiosity and concern. Anna, he said softly, we need to do some more tests to make sure you and the baby are healthy. Is it okay if we bring in some specialists to check on you? Anna looked up, fear evident in her eyes. Will it hurt? We'll do everything we can to make sure it doesn't hurt, Dr. Ramirez replied gently. And Lucia or I will be with you the whole time if you want. Just then, Lucia returned with a tray of food. The aroma of hot soup and fresh bread filled the room, offering a brief reprieve from the tension. Look, Anna, Lucia said with a warm smile, I've brought you something to eat. Why don't you try having a little soup while we talk? Anna nodded, allowing Lucia to place the tray in front of her. Gently, the nurse took the baby in her arms so Anna could eat. As Anna ate slowly, Elena continued asking soft questions, trying to gather more information without pressuring the child too much. Anna, can you tell me how you felt when you saw the baby for the first time? Anna set down the spoon and looked at the small baby sleeping in Lucia's arms. I was scared, she admitted. I didn't know what to do. But I also thought he was cute. Elena nodded understandingly. It's normal to feel scared in a situation like this. You did the right thing by coming to the hospital. What's going to happen now? Anna asked, her voice trembling. Are you going to take me home? Dr. Ramirez gently intervened. For now, Anna, you'll stay here at the hospital. We need to make sure you're completely okay before we decide what happens next. Is that all right? Anna nodded, though it was clear that the uncertainty worried her. Noticing her anxiety, Lucia tried to distract her. Anna, have you thought of a name for the baby? She asked, rocking the little one gently in her arms. The question seemed to surprise Anna, who blinked in confusion. Can I name him? Of course, Lucia replied with a warm smile. Do you have any ideas? Anna thought for a moment, her face softening as she looked at the baby. Maybe Miguel? Like the archangel. So he can protect him. The adults in the room exchanged glances, touched by the innocence and tenderness in Anna's words. Miguel is a beautiful name, Elena said softly. I'm sure he'll protect him. As the conversation continued, Dr. Ramirez quietly left the room. In the hallway, he met with the head of pediatrics, Dr. Sanchez, who was waiting with a serious expression. What do we have, Ramirez? Dr. Sanchez asked quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed heavily. It's worse than we initially thought. The girl, Anna, is only 10 years old. The baby seems to be a newborn. We're dealing with a case of extreme child abuse. Dr. Sanchez closed his eyes for a moment, processing the information. My God. Have you contacted the authorities yet? The social worker is on it. We also need a specialized team for the tests. And child psychology, of course. You'll have it, Dr. Sanchez assured him. Whatever resources you need. This case is a priority. While the doctors discussed the next steps in the hallway, inside the room, Anna had finished eating and was once again holding baby Miguel in her arms. Lucia sat beside her, watching with a mix of admiration and sadness as the girl gently stroked the baby's cheek. He's so tiny, Anna murmured. Will he grow soon? Lucia smiled tenderly. Yes, he'll grow very quickly. Babies grow at an incredible speed. Anna frowned, a shadow of worry crossing her face. And what will happen to him? Will he stay with me? Elena, who had been observing silently, spoke up gently. Anna, there are many things we need to figure out first. For now, the most important thing is that both you and Miguel are healthy and safe. We'll make sure you both receive the best care possible. The girl nodded slowly, though it was clear that the uncertainty troubled her. Noticing her unease, Lucia decided to change the subject. Anna, would you like me to read you a story? We have lots of nice books here in the hospital. Anna's eyes brightened slightly at the suggestion. Can you read me one about angels? Like Miguel, Lucia smiled, grateful to be able to offer a moment of normalcy amidst the confusion. Of course, sweetheart. Let me see what I can find. As Lucia left to search for a book, Dr. Ramirez returned to the room. His expression was serious but kind as he spoke to Anna. Anna, we're going to need to run some tests on you soon. But before we do, is there anything you need? Something that would make you feel more comfortable. Anna thought for a moment before responding shyly. Can I have a stuffed animal? For Miguel. Dr. Ramirez's heart ached at the innocence of the request. Of course, Anna. I'll make sure you have a stuffed animal for Miguel. As the day progressed, the hospital became a hub of controlled activity. Specialist doctors, additional nurses, and more social workers were called in. The police arrived discreetly, interviewing the medical staff out of Anna's sight. In the room, unaware of the chaos unfolding around her, Anna listened attentively as Lucia read her a story about guardian angels. Baby Miguel slept peacefully in a small crib beside the bed, and a newly acquired teddy bear stood vigil on the bedside table. Despite the apparent calm in the room, all the adults involved in the case knew this was only the beginning. The next hours and days would bring unimaginable challenges, difficult decisions, and hopefully, the start of a healing process for Anna and Miguel. As the sun began to set, casting a golden light over the room, Lucia watched Anna, who had finally fallen asleep, exhausted from the day's emotions. The nurse sighed softly, mentally preparing herself for the days ahead. She knew this case would leave an indelible mark on everyone involved, but for now, her priority was to ensure that Anna felt safe and protected. The first day was coming to an end, but Anna and Miguel's story was just beginning. And as night fell over San Rafael General Hospital, a sense of determination settled among the staff. They would do everything in their power to help this little girl and her baby, no matter the obstacles they would face. The next morning dawned gray and rainy, as if the sky reflected the gravity of the situation unfolding at San Rafael General Hospital. In Anna's room, the dim light filtering through the curtains found Lucia, the nurse, gently and expertly changing baby Miguel's diaper. Anna slowly awoke, blinking in confusion before the events of the previous day came flooding back. She sat up in bed, watching Lucia with the baby. Good morning, sweetheart, Lucia greeted her with a warm smile. How are you feeling today? Anna shrugged, her voice still hoarse from sleep. I'm okay, I guess. How's Miguel? He's perfect, Lucia replied, lifting the baby so Anna could see him. He's a very strong and healthy boy. At that moment, Dr. Ramirez entered the room, followed by Elena, the social worker, and a woman Anna didn't recognize. Good morning, Anna, Dr. Ramirez greeted her. I hope you were able to get some rest. There are a few people who would like to speak with you today, is that all right? Anna nodded timidly, her eyes shifting between the adults with some apprehension. The unfamiliar woman stepped forward, her face kind and her voice soft as she spoke. Hello, Anna. My name is Dr. Martinez. I'm a child psychologist, and I'm here to talk with you and help you understand everything that's going on. Is it okay if we chat for a little while? Anna nodded again, though it was clear she was nervous. Sensing her discomfort, Lucia stepped in. Would you like to hold Miguel while you talk to Dr. Martinez? She offered. Anna's eyes brightened slightly, and she held out her arms. Lucia carefully placed the baby in Anna's lap, making sure they were both comfortable. Dr. Martinez sat beside the bed, her voice calm and reassuring. Anna, I know all of this must be very confusing and maybe a little scary for you. I want you to know that we're here to help, and you can talk to us about anything that's worrying you. Is there anything you'd like to ask? Anna was silent for a moment, her fingers absent-mindedly playing with the blanket wrapped around Miguel. Finally, in a barely audible voice, she asked, when can I go home? The question made the adults in the room exchange quick glances. It was Elena who responded carefully. Anna, for now, the most important thing is to make sure you're completely healthy and safe. We're going to need you to stay in the hospital a little longer, okay? Anna frowned, clearly dissatisfied with the answer. But, what about my mom? Does she know I'm here? Dr. Ramirez stepped closer, his voice gentle but firm. Anna, we've been trying to contact your family. But before we do that, we need to understand exactly what happened. Can you tell us a little more about how Miguel came to you? The girl lowered her gaze, her eyes fixed on the baby she was holding. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. I don't know. I woke up, and he was there. Dr. Martinez gently intervened. Anna, I know this is hard, but it's very important that you tell us the truth. You're not in trouble, I promise. We just want to help. Anna remained silent for what felt like an eternity. Lucia, noticing her distress, moved closer and took her free hand, giving her a comforting squeeze. It's okay, sweetheart, Lucia murmured. We're here for you. Finally, Anna looked up, her eyes filled with unshed tears. I didn't want it to happen. I didn't understand what was going on. It hurt a lot, and I was scared. The silence that followed was heavy, filled with horror and compassion. Dr. Ramirez closed his eyes for a moment, struggling to maintain his professional composure. Anna, he said gently but firmly, I need to ask you some more questions. They may be difficult, but it's very important that you answer truthfully. Can you do that for me? Anna nodded slowly, her arms unconsciously tightening around Miguel. Did someone hurt you, Anna? Did someone touch you in a way that made you feel uncomfortable or scared? Tears began to stream down Anna's cheeks as she nodded silently. Elena, her heart breaking, asked softly, can you tell us who it was, sweetheart? Anna squeezed her eyes shut, as if trying to block out a painful memory. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely audible. My stepfather. The revelation landed like a bomb in the room. Lucia stifled a sob, her eyes filling with tears. Dr. Ramirez clenched his fists, struggling to contain his anger. Elena and Dr. Martinez exchanged grim looks, knowing the situation had just become exponentially more complicated. Anna, Dr. Martinez said softly but firmly, you've been very brave by telling us this. I want you to know that none of what happened is your fault. Absolutely none of it. Anna looked up, her eyes desperately seeking confirmation. Really? But I didn't say anything. I didn't ask for help. It's not your responsibility to ask for help in a situation like this, Elena assured her. You are a child. The adults in your life should have protected you. Dr. Ramirez, having regained his professional composure, approached the bed. Anna, we need to run some more tests to make sure you're completely healthy. Is it okay if we bring in a special doctor to examine you? Anna nodded timidly, though her fear was evident. Lucia, sensing her anxiety, stepped in. I'll be with you the whole time if you want, sweetheart, the nurse offered. And Miguel? Anna asked, looking at the baby in her arms. Miguel will stay right here in the room, Dr. Ramirez reassured her. We won't take him anywhere without telling you first. As the medical team prepared for the examinations, Dr. Martinez stayed with Anna, speaking softly to her and helping her process what was happening. Anna, I know all of this is very overwhelming, the psychologist said. But I want you to know that you are incredibly strong. You've been through something very difficult, but you're here, taking care of Miguel. That shows how brave and caring you are. Anna looked at Miguel, a small smile forming on her lips. It's just, he's so tiny. He needs someone to take care of him, and you're doing a wonderful job, Dr. Martinez assured her. But now it's time for us to take care of you too. Okay. At that moment, a new doctor entered the room. Her face was kind, and her voice soft as she introduced herself. Hello, Anna. I'm Dr. Lopez. I'm going to run some tests to make sure you're completely healthy. Is it okay if we get started? Anna nodded, though her body visibly tensed. Lucia moved closer, offering her hand for Anna to hold. I'm right here with you, sweetheart, the nurse murmured. Everything is going to be okay. While Dr. Lopez conducted the exams, Dr. Ramirez stepped out of the room to meet with the legal and social services team that had arrived at the hospital. In the conference room, the atmosphere was tense. Detective Gomez, leading the investigation, was the first to speak. This is a clear case of child abuse and rape, he said, his voice filled with barely contained anger. We need to act quickly to protect Anna and the baby. The social services representative, Mrs. Rodriguez, nodded gravely. We're initiating the procedures to remove Anna from her mother's custody. It's evident she either couldn't or wouldn't protect her. What do we know about the mother? Dr. Ramirez asked. We haven't been able to locate her yet, Detective Gomez replied. But we have a warrant out for the stepfather's arrest. We're doing everything we can to find him. While the adults discussed the legal and medical aspects of the case, back in Anna's room, Dr. Lopez finished the examinations. You've been very brave, Anna, the doctor said with a kind smile. We're all done for now. Anna, visibly relieved, relaxed against the pillows. Lucia offered her a glass of water, which the girl gratefully accepted. Am I sick? Anna asked timidly. Dr. Lopez shook her head. You're not sick, Anna. But your body has been through a lot. We're going to make sure you get all the care you need to recover fully. At that moment, Miguel began to cry softly. Anna immediately leaned toward the crib, her face full of concern. I think he's hungry, she said, looking at Lucia uncertainly. The nurse smiled, moving toward the crib. You're right, it's probably time for his feeding. Would you like to help me feed him? Anna's eyes lit up at the suggestion. Can I? Of course, Lucia replied, preparing a bottle. I'll show you how to do it. As Lucia guided Anna on how to hold and feed Miguel, Dr. Martinez watched the scene with a mix of admiration and sadness. It was clear that despite everything Anna had been through, she had a natural maternal instinct and a strong bond with the baby. You're doing great, Anna, Dr. Martinez praised. Miguel is lucky to have you. Anna smiled shyly, her eyes fixed on the baby who was eagerly feeding. He's easy to love, she murmured. The moment of tenderness was interrupted by the return of Dr. Ramirez and Elena. Their serious expressions didn't go unnoticed by Anna, who immediately tensed. What's happening? She asked, her voice tinged with fear. Are they going to take Miguel away? Elena quickly moved to reassure her. No, Anna. Miguel is staying here with you for now. But there are some things we need to discuss. Dr. Ramirez approached, his voice gentle but serious. Anna, based on what you've told us and the results of the tests, we've had to inform the authorities about your situation. Anna's eyes widened in fear. The police? But I didn't do anything wrong, did I? No, sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong, Elena assured her. The police are here to help protect you and Miguel, and my mom. Anna asked, her voice trembling slightly. Does she know I'm here? There was an uncomfortable pause before Elena carefully responded. We're trying to contact your mom, Anna. But for now, the most important thing is making sure you're safe and well cared for. Anna seemed to process this for a moment, her gaze dropping to Miguel, who was now sleeping peacefully in her arms. When she spoke again, her voice was barely a whisper. Am I going to have to go back home? The question made every adult in the room feel a pang of pain. It was Dr. Martinez who answered, her voice full of kindness. No, Anna. You're not going back to that house. We're going to find a safe place for you and for Miguel. Anna nodded slowly, a mix of relief and fear crossing her face. Can we stay together? Miguel and me? Elena and Dr. Ramirez exchanged a glance. It was a complicated question, with significant legal and ethical implications. We'll do everything we can to keep you together, Elena promised, though all the adults in the room knew the reality could be much more complicated. The rest of the day passed in a whirlwind of activity. Police officers came and went discreetly, while hospital staff worked tirelessly to tend to Anna and Miguel's needs. By mid-afternoon, Detective Gomez requested to speak with Anna. Dr. Ramirez and Dr. Martinez exchanged worried looks. Is it really necessary? Dr. Ramirez asked. Anna has already been through so much today. Detective Gomez nodded gravely. I understand your concern, Doctor. But we need her statement to proceed with the case. I promise to be as gentle as possible. Dr. Martinez stepped in. I'll be present during the interview. And if I see Anna becoming too stressed, we'll stop immediately. Reluctantly, Dr. Ramirez agreed. They entered Anna's room, where the girl was sitting on the bed, holding Miguel while Lucia taught her how to change a diaper. Anna, Dr. Ramirez said softly, there's someone here who needs to ask you some questions. He's a police officer, but you don't have to be afraid. Dr. Martinez and I will be here the whole time. Anna looked at the detective with apprehension, her arms unconsciously tightening around Miguel. Detective Gomez approached with a kind smile. Hello, Anna. I'm Detective Gomez. I know you've had a really hard day, but I need to ask you some questions about what happened. Is that okay? Anna nodded slowly, her gaze shifting between the detective and Dr. Martinez for reassurance. All right, the detective said, sitting near the bed. Anna, can you tell me a little about your life at home? Who do you live with? Anna swallowed before answering. With my mom and my stepfather. And what's it like living with them? The detective asked gently. Anna lowered her gaze, her fingers nervously playing with Miguel's blanket. Sometimes it's hard. My stepfather gets angry a lot. Does he get angry with you? The detective pressed gently. Anna nodded, tears forming in her eyes. Yes. He says I'm a bother. That I shouldn't have been born. Dr. Martinez took Anna's hand, offering silent support as the detective continued. Anna, can you tell me about the night Miguel was born? Do you remember what happened? Anna squeezed her eyes shut, as if trying to block out a painful memory. When she spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. It hurt a lot. I was really scared. I called for my mom, but she wasn't home. My stepfather came into my room, and Anna stopped, unable to continue. Detective Gomez exchanged a look with Dr. Martinez before speaking again. It's okay, Anna. You've been very brave. Can you tell me what happened after Miguel was born? Anna took a deep breath, her eyes fixed on the baby in her arms. My stepfather left. He told me not to say anything, that it was a secret. But I was so scared, and Miguel wouldn't stop crying. So I ran away and came to the hospital. Detective Gomez nodded, his face a mask of professionalism that barely concealed his shock and anger. You did the right thing, Anna. You were very brave to seek help. As the detective made a few notes, Dr. Ramirez approached Anna. How are you feeling, sweetheart? Do you need to rest? Anna shook her head. I'm okay. I just want to know what's going to happen now. Detective Gomez put away his notebook and looked at Anna seriously. Anna, we're going to do everything we can to keep you safe. Your stepfather won't be able to hurt you ever again. And my mom? Anna asked, her voice trembling slightly. The detective exchanged a look with Elena, who had just entered the room. It was the social worker who answered. Anna, we haven't been able to locate your mom yet. But I promise we're doing everything we can to find her and understand the full situation. Anna nodded slowly, processing the information. Then, to everyone's surprise, she asked, can I stay here at the hospital? I feel safe here. Dr. Ramirez smiled tenderly. For now, yes, you'll stay here. But eventually, we'll need to find a more permanent place for you and for Miguel. Will we be separated? Anna asked, fear evident in her voice. Elena stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. Anna, the situation is complicated. You're very young to care for a baby on your own. But I promise we'll do everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are safe and well cared for. Anna seemed to reflect on this for a moment before speaking again. Can I learn to take care of him better? I want to be a good mom to Miguel. The room fell into a poignant silence. It was Lucia who finally spoke, her eyes bright with emotion. Anna, sweetheart, you're already a wonderful mom. You care for Miguel and want the best for him. That's what matters most. Dr. Martinez gently intervened. Anna, it's natural that you want to take care of Miguel. But it's also important for you to understand that you're still a child. You need the chance to grow, to learn, to play. You don't have to carry all the responsibility by yourself. Anna nodded slowly, though it was clear that the idea of being separated from Miguel frightened her. But, will I still get to see him? Even if he doesn't live with me? Elena smiled warmly. We'll do everything we can to make sure you can keep a relationship with Miguel, Anna. But for now, let's focus on making sure both of you are healthy and safe, okay? The rest of the afternoon passed in a flurry of doctors, nurses, and social workers. Anna, exhausted by the day's emotions, eventually fell asleep, with Miguel resting peacefully in his crib next to her bed. Outside the room, the medical and legal team gathered to discuss the next steps. The case is clear, said Detective Gomez. Child abuse, rape of a minor, negligence on the part of the mother. We're going to prosecute the stepfather to the fullest extent of the law. And the mother? Dr. Ramirez asked. Elena sighed heavily. We still haven't been able to locate her. But given the circumstances, it's unlikely she'll be able to retain custody of Anna. What will happen to Anna and Miguel? Lucia, who had joined the conversation after ensuring both children were asleep, asked. For now, they'll remain at the hospital, Elena replied. We're looking for a foster family that can handle this unique situation. Ideally, one that can take in both Anna and Miguel, at least temporarily. Dr. Martinez spoke up. Anna will need intensive therapy. She's been through severe trauma, and it will take a long time for her to recover. Dr. Ramirez nodded. And we'll need to closely monitor both their health. Anna is far too young to have given birth. We'll need to make sure there are no long-term complications. As the team continued to discuss the details of the case, in the room, Anna shifted in her sleep, her hand unconsciously reaching out for Miguel's. Even in her dreams, her instinct to protect the baby was strong. Night fell over the hospital, bringing with it a superficial calm. But everyone knew this was only the beginning. The days and weeks ahead would bring more challenges, more difficult decisions, and, hopefully, the beginning of a healing process for Anna and Miguel. Lucia, who had volunteered for the night shift, sat in a chair beside Anna's bed, watching over the girl and the baby as they slept. As she gazed at their peaceful faces, she couldn't help but feel a mix of sadness and hope. They're going to be okay, she murmured to herself, like a promise. We'll make sure of it. And so, as the outside world continued to spin, oblivious to the drama unfolding within the hospital walls, Anna and Miguel slept, unaware of the decisions being made about their future, of the lives they had touched and changed forever, and of the challenges that still lay ahead. The second day was coming to an end, but Anna and Miguel's story was far from over. And as the night progressed, a sense of determination settled among everyone involved in the case. They would do everything in their power to ensure a better future for these two children, no matter the obstacles they might face. The dawn of the third day at San Rafael General Hospital brought with it a sense of anticipation and nervousness. The story of Anna and Miguel had spread among the staff, and while everyone maintained an air of professionalism, it was clear that the case had deeply affected each person involved. Lucia, who had stayed up all night caring for Anna and Miguel, was relieved by Carmen, another nurse who had been following the case closely. How was the night? Carmen asked quietly as Lucia handed over the night's report. Lucia sighed, running a tired hand through her hair. Relatively calm. Anna had a nightmare around 3 a.m., but I managed to calm her down without waking Miguel. Carmen nodded, her face a mixture of compassion and determination. Thank you, Lucia. Go get some rest. I'll take it from here. As Lucia left the room, Dr. Ramirez arrived for his morning rounds. His face showed signs of exhaustion, but his eyes were alert and full of concern. Good morning, Carmen, he greeted in a low voice. How are our special patients this morning? They're still sleeping, doctor, Carmen replied. Anna had a bit of a restless night, but Miguel has been peaceful. Dr. Ramirez nodded, approaching the bed where Anna slept. The girl looked small and vulnerable under the hospital's white sheets. Next to her, in a special crib, Miguel slept soundly. They're going to have a busy day, the doctor murmured, more to himself than to Carmen. Social services will be here to discuss the next steps, and the police need to ask a few more questions. At that moment, Anna began to stir, her eyes slowly opening. For a moment, she seemed disoriented, but then the reality of her situation seemed to hit her, and her eyes filled with tears. Good morning, Anna, Dr. Ramirez said gently, approaching the bed. How are you feeling this morning? Anna sat up slowly, her gaze immediately searching for Miguel. Seeing the baby sleeping peacefully in his crib, she relaxed a little. I'm okay, she replied quietly. Is Miguel okay? Carmen stepped forward with a warm smile. He's perfectly fine, sweetheart. He slept through the night. Anna nodded, though it was clear something was troubling her. Noticing her unease, Dr. Ramirez sat on the edge of the bed. Anna, he began softly, some people are going to come today to talk with you and with us about what happens next. I know it might be scary, but I want you to know we're all here to help you, okay? Anna nodded slowly, her eyes full of unspoken questions. Are they going to take Miguel away? She finally asked in a barely audible whisper. Dr. Ramirez gently took Anna's hand. Anna, the situation is complicated. You're very young to take care of a baby on your own. But I promise we'll do everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are safe and well cared for. At that moment, Miguel began to cry softly. Anna immediately leaned toward the crib, her face full of concern. He's hungry, she said, surprising the adults with her intuition. Carmen smiled, moving toward the crib. You're right, Anna. Would you like to help me prepare his bottle? Anna's eyes lit up at the suggestion, and for a moment, she seemed to forget her worries as she helped Carmen feed Miguel. By mid-morning, Elena, the social worker, arrived accompanied by a woman Anna didn't recognize. Dr. Ramirez met them outside the room. Good morning, Elena, the doctor greeted. How's everything going? Elena sighed, her face showing signs of fatigue. It's been a long night, doctor. But I think we have good news. This is Mrs. Martinez, one of our best foster parents. Mrs. Martinez, a middle-aged woman with a kind smile, extended her hand. It's a pleasure, doctor. I've heard a lot about Anna and Miguel. Dr. Ramirez nodded, a spark of hope in his eyes. Are they considering? Elena nodded. Mrs. Martinez and her husband are willing to foster both Anna and Miguel, at least temporarily. They have experience with complex cases, and we believe they could be a good fit. The relief on Dr. Ramirez's face was evident. That's excellent news. But first, we should talk to Anna. She's been through a lot, and we need to handle this delicately. They entered the room, where Anna was sitting on the bed, holding Miguel as Carmen showed her how to change a diaper. Anna, Elena said softly, there's someone here who would like to meet you. Anna looked up, her eyes moving between Elena and Mrs. Martinez with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Mrs. Martinez approached with a warm smile. Hello, Anna. I'm Isabel Martinez. I've heard a lot about you and Miguel. Anna instinctively held Miguel tighter. Are they going to take him away? She asked, fear clear in her voice. Elena quickly stepped in. No, Anna. Mrs. Martinez is here to talk about the possibility of you and Miguel living with her and her family for a while. Anna's eyes widened in surprise. Together, Mrs. Martinez nodded, sitting on the edge of the bed. Yes, sweetheart. My husband and I have a big house with lots of space. We have experience taking care of children who have been through difficult situations. Anna seemed to process this information for a moment. But will I still be able to take care of Miguel? Mrs. Martinez smiled kindly. Of course, you'll be able to help take care of Miguel. But we also want you to have the chance to be a child, Anna. To play, to learn, to grow. As the conversation continued, Dr. Ramirez watched closely. It was clear that Anna was struggling with a mixture of emotions, fear, hope, and confusion. Anna, the doctor said gently, I know this is a lot to take in. Do you have any questions for Mrs. Martinez? Anna bit her lip, thinking. Finally, in a trembling voice, she asked, what if my mom looks for me? The room fell into a tense silence. It was Elena who finally responded. Anna, we're still trying to locate your mom. But for now, the most important thing is to make sure you and Miguel are safe and well cared for. Mrs. Martinez added gently, and if your mom looks for you, we'll work together to decide what's best for you and Miguel. Your safety and well-being are the most important things. Ana nodded slowly, though it was clear she still had many concerns. Just then, Miguel began to stir in her arms, as if sensing the tension in the room. Shoo, it's okay, Ana murmured, gently rocking the baby. The natural way she calmed Miguel didn't go unnoticed by the adults in the room. Dr. Ramirez exchanged a glance with Elena before speaking. Ana, how would you feel if Mrs. Martinez came to visit you over the next few days? That way, you can get to know her better and ask her any questions you want. Ana seemed to consider the idea for a moment before nodding shyly. Okay, she said quietly. Mrs. Martinez smiled warmly. I'd love that, Ana. And if you'd like, I can bring you some books or games to keep you entertained while you're in the hospital. For the first time since the conversation began, a small smile appeared on Anna's face. Really? Could you bring books about angels? Like Miguel? Mrs. Martinez nodded, visibly moved. Of course, sweetheart. I'll bring the best angel books I can find. As the conversation continued, the atmosphere in the room gradually began to relax. Ana, though still cautious, seemed more open to the idea of Mrs. Martinez. Outside the room, Detective Gomez was waiting to speak with Dr. Ramirez and Elena. How's it going? The detective asked quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed. It's a slow process, but I think we're making progress. Mrs. Martinez seems like a good option for Ana and Miguel. Elena nodded. There's still a lot to do, but it's a good start. Any news on Anna's mother or stepfather? The detective frowned. We still haven't been able to locate the mother. As for the stepfather, we have him in custody. He was arrested last night trying to cross the border. The news was met with a mixture of relief and concern. On one hand, the man who had abused Ana was no longer an immediate threat. On the other, his capture meant the case would soon enter a new phase, one that would inevitably be painful for Ana. When will Ana need to testify? Dr. Ramirez asked, the worry evident in his voice. We're doing everything we can to avoid having Ana go through a trial, the detective responded. With the medical evidence and the confession we're hoping to obtain, we might be able to spare her that additional trauma. Elena sighed with relief. That would be best. Ana has already been through too much. As the adults discussed the legal aspects of the case, inside the room, Ana had begun to relax a little more around Mrs. Martinez. The woman had taken out her phone and was showing Ana pictures of her house and garden. We have a swing in the backyard, Mrs. Martinez explained. And lots of flowers. Do you like flowers, Ana? Ana nodded shyly. I like sunflowers. They're big and bright. Mrs. Martinez smiled. What a coincidence. We have a beautiful sunflower garden. Maybe you could help me take care of them when you come to live with us. For the first time since arriving at the hospital, Anna's eyes lit up with something resembling hope. Could I really do that? Of course, sweetheart, Mrs. Martinez replied. And you could help me cook too, if you'd like. Do you like to cook? Ana shook her head. I've never cooked. But I'd like to learn. The conversation continued, with Mrs. Martinez patiently describing life at her home, answering all of Anna's questions, and reassuring her again and again that both she and Miguel would be welcomed and cared for. As the day progressed, the hospital staff couldn't help but notice the gradual change in Ana. Though she was still clearly scared and confused, there was a spark of hope in her eyes that hadn't been there before. Near sunset, as Mrs. Martinez prepared to leave, Ana surprised everyone with a question. When could we go to your house? She asked quietly, as if afraid of the answer. Mrs. Martinez looked at Dr. Ramirez, who nodded slightly. Well, Ana, she replied with a warm smile, that depends on what Dr. Ramirez says. We need to make sure you and Miguel are strong enough to leave the hospital. But I promise, as soon as the doctor says you're ready, my husband and I will be here to take you home. Ana nodded, a small smile forming on her lips. Thank you, she murmured. As Mrs. Martinez left, promising to return the next day with books about angels, Dr. Ramirez approached Ana. How are you feeling, Ana? He asked softly. Ana looked at Miguel, who was sleeping peacefully in her arms, before answering. I'm scared, she admitted. But I think Mrs. Martinez is nice. And I want Miguel to be safe. Dr. Ramirez smiled tenderly at Ana's words. That's very mature of you, Ana. And you're right, Mrs. Martinez seems like a very good person. We're doing everything we can to make sure both you and Miguel are safe and happy. Ana nodded, her eyes fixed on the sleeping baby in her arms. Doctor, she said softly, do you think I'm a bad person for wanting to keep Miguel? I know I'm really young, but I don't want to let him go. Dr. Ramirez's heart ached at her question. He sat on the edge of the bed, choosing his words carefully. Ana, listen to me, he began gently. You are not a bad person at all. The love you feel for Miguel is beautiful and pure. But you're right, you're still very young. Your job now is to grow, learn, and heal. And we can make sure Miguel stays in your life while you do all of that. Tears began to roll down Anna's cheeks. I'm afraid he'll forget me, she whispered. Dr. Ramirez took her hand gently. That won't happen, Anna. Mrs. Martinez already said you can be part of Miguel's life. And we'll make sure that happens. Just then, Lucia entered the room, having returned for her afternoon shift. Seeing Anna's tears, she quickly came over. What's wrong, sweetheart? She asked, sitting on the other side of the bed. Anna sobbed softly. I'm scared, Lucia. Everything is changing, and I don't know what's going to happen. Lucia wrapped her in a careful hug, mindful of the baby still in Anna's arms. Oh, my dear. It's normal to be scared. But look at how many people are here to help you. Dr. Ramirez, me, Mrs. Martinez, Elena. We all want what's best for you and for Miguel. Anna leaned into Lucia's embrace, finally allowing herself to cry openly for the first time since arriving at the hospital. Dr. Ramirez and Lucia exchanged worried glances, but they both knew that this was necessary, even healthy. After a few minutes, Anna calmed down, wiping her tears with her free hand. Remarkably, Miguel had slept through the entire episode. I'm sorry, Anna murmured, embarrassed. You have nothing to apologize for, Lucia assured her, gently stroking her hair. Sometimes, crying is exactly what we need. Dr. Ramirez nodded in agreement. Anna, you've been incredibly strong. But it's okay not to be strong all the time. We're here to support you. Just then, Miguel began to stir, opening his little eyes and making soft, uncomfortable noises. I think he's hungry, Anna said, her attention immediately focused on the baby. Lucia smiled. You're probably right. Do you want me to get a bottle ready? Anna nodded, gently rocking Miguel while Lucia went to prepare the baby's meal. Dr. Ramirez watched with admiration as Anna, despite her own pain and fear, focused entirely on Miguel's needs. Anna, the doctor said softly, do you know that you're an extraordinary person? Anna looked up, surprised. Me? Dr. Ramirez nodded. Yes, you. You've been through something no child should ever have to experience, and yet here you are, caring for Miguel with so much love and dedication. That's extraordinary. Anna blushed slightly at the compliment. I just want him to be okay, she murmured. And he will be, the doctor assured her. Thanks to you. Lucia returned with the bottle and handed it to Anna, who began feeding Miguel with a skill that impressed both adults. You're doing great, Lucia commented with a smile. Anna smiled shyly. Carmen taught me. She says I'm a quick learner. As Miguel ate, Dr. Ramirez decided it was time to address something he had been postponing. Anna, he began carefully, there's something I need to tell you. The police, they found your stepfather. Anna visibly tensed, her eyes widening with fear. Is he coming here? No, the doctor quickly reassured her. He's in police custody. He can't hurt you ever again. Anna seemed to process this information, her gaze dropping to Miguel. What's going to happen now? She asked quietly. Dr. Ramirez sighed. Well, there will be a legal process. But we're doing everything we can to make sure you don't have to be too involved. Your job now is to focus on healing and taking care of yourself and Miguel, Lucia added softly, and we'll be here to help you every step of the way. Anna nodded slowly, though it was clear the news had shaken her. Miguel, having finished his meal, squirmed in her arms. I think he needs to burp, Anna said, once again demonstrating her maternal instincts. Lucia smiled. You're right. Would you like me to show you how to do it? Anna eagerly nodded, and Lucia proceeded to teach her how to gently place Miguel over her shoulder and pat his back. Dr. Ramirez watched the scene with a mix of admiration and sadness, fully aware of the complex situation these two children were in. As the afternoon wore on, more hospital staff stopped by Anna's room. Some came under the guise of medical checkups, while others simply wanted to say hello. It was clear that Anna and Miguel's story had deeply touched everyone in the hospital. Carmen, who had finished her shift hours earlier, returned with a small package in her hands. Hi, Anna, she greeted with a smile. I brought you something. Anna looked at the package with curiosity. For me, Carmen nodded and handed her the gift. Anna carefully opened it, revealing a small photo album. I thought you might want to keep some memories of Miguel, Carmen explained. I've put in some pictures I've taken of the two of you over the past few days, and there's space for many more. Anna's eyes filled with tears as she flipped through the album. There were photos of her feeding Miguel, the baby sleeping peacefully in her arms, and both of them gazing at each other with pure love. Thank you, Anna whispered, clutching the album to her chest. It's beautiful. Carmen's gesture seemed to open the floodgates. Over the next few hours, more staff members brought small gifts and tokens of affection. One nurse brought a teddy bear for Miguel, another a storybook for Anna. Even the cleaning staff joined in, bringing drawings made by their children to decorate Anna's room. Dr. Ramirez watched all of this with a mixture of pride and emotion. Seeing the entire hospital come together to support this little girl and her baby was deeply moving. By the end of the day, Anna's room had been transformed. What was once a sterile, medical space was now filled with color, toys, books, and, most importantly, love. Exhausted but visibly more relaxed than in previous days, Anna prepared for bed. Lucia helped her settle in, making sure Miguel was comfortable in his crib. "Lucia," Anna said sleepily, "do you think everything's going to be okay?" Lucia smiled, gently stroking Anna's hair. "Yes, sweetheart. I believe everything will be okay. You have so many people who love and support you. And you're stronger than you think." Anna nodded, her eyes slowly closing. "Thank you," she murmured before drifting off to sleep. Lucia stayed by the bed for a moment, watching Anna and Miguel sleep peacefully. Then, she quietly left the room and found Dr. Ramirez in the hallway. "How are they?" the doctor asked in a low voice. "Asleep," Lucia replied with a tired smile. "It's been a long day, but I think it's been good for Anna. She needed to feel all this support." Dr. Ramirez nodded, his gaze drifting toward the window at the end of the hall. The sun was setting, casting the sky in shades of orange and pink. "You know," the doctor said thoughtfully, "when Anna first came in 3 days ago, I feared the worst. But seeing her now, seeing how everyone has come together to support her, it gives me hope." Lucia nodded in agreement. "It's amazing how a little girl and a baby can bring so many people together. And that's exactly what they'll need in the days to come," Dr. Ramirez added. "The road ahead won't be easy, but at least they won't have to face it alone." As the sun disappeared below the horizon, marking the end of the third day, both Lucia and Dr. Ramirez stood in silence, reflecting on the events of the past few days and the challenges that still lay ahead. Inside the room, Anna slept peacefully for the first time since her arrival at the hospital. Miguel, as if sensing his young mother's calm, also rested quietly. And though the future was still uncertain, there was a feeling of hope in the air, a sense that, with the right love and support, these two children could overcome whatever obstacles life had in store for them. The third day was ending, but Anna and Miguel's story was far from over. However, they now had something they didn't have when it all began, a family, not of blood but of heart, ready to fight for them and ensure they had the chance at a bright and love-filled future.